His research interest includes artificial intelligence technologies and parallel computer algorithms. He has been serving the academia and university for the past 37 plus years. He is the author of more than 20 computer science technical books, most of them prescribed in the syllabus of various Indian and foreign universities, more than 10 research papers, more than 20 educational videos published in YouTube. He was the vice president and global head of artificial intelligence in Capgemini before joining CRISP. In this role, he provided consultancy in design and development of artificial intelligence based systems that transformed the business of the customer. He has guided 7 PhD scholars successfully complete the degree. He is a Java practitioner for 25 years and his Java book published by McGraw-Hill India Education celebrated its jubilee recently. Artificial intelligence and machine learning practitioner with 19 years of industry experience and 18 years of education and research. He was member of IT task force for 3 years in 1998 to 2001, which is a IT technical advisory body for government of Tamil Nadu. Thank you, sir. Welcome you, sir. The session is yours. Um,
So thank you
I
very much,
welcome you,
madam.
sir. Once upon, I again welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Am I properly audible? I am not using a headphone, so I wanted to check whether I am properly audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to meet all of you and discuss some interesting topics which are vital for the future generations. We are working on various interesting technologies, and face recognition is one such important technologies. So in this 1.5 hours, we are going to see what exactly is face recognition, what is the concept behind the face recognition, what are the algorithms that we use, and I will also show you a few implementations in Python. So that is the purpose of this session. So when we say that face recognition is a part of artificial intelligence, better we begin with what is artificial intelligence. In fact, today there is a lot of hype around artificial intelligence. In every technology, people say that artificial intelligence is included. So let us try to define what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has become so popular that even in common media, people talk about artificial intelligence. For your information, I don't know whether you know or not, artificial intelligence has been introduced as a compulsory subject from 9th class onwards in India in the CBSE syllabus. So that tells you the importance of artificial intelligence. It's a core subject. Artificial intelligence is a core subject from 9th standard onwards, and the CBSE has already published the syllabus and other things. So you can go to CBSE website and verify. So it is important to know, to understand exactly what is artificial intelligence. In fact, human beings have been developing tools right from the early days. Right from the early days, human beings wanted to have tools to improve their productivity. That is how he invented various devices, and when electricity and motor was available, they developed various things using electricity and motor. Today we have reached a stage where without electricity and motor you don't have a life. So we are in such a position. So the tool which is made for us is helping us to improve our productivity. As a simple example, if you want to travel from point A to point B, you can walk. You can walk. That's your capability. You always have the capability to walk from one point to another point. However, if you use a tool, a mechanical tool, maybe a cycle, a bicycle, then you can do the same job with better efficiency. When we say efficiency, it may be quick speed. Speed may be higher and time taken may be lower, and so on. So many things. So, in order to do our job efficiently, we are creating tools. When electricity was invented, when motor was invented, we have created car, motorcycle, and so on. So, fundamentally, one of the basic human capability is to create tools to improve his efficiency. So, he started working on more and more tools which have the same capabilities as human beings. Initially, our journey started with creating tools which has your physical capabilities. You are able to see something. You create a camera which can also see. You are able to hear something. You have a recorder which can record the music and then you can hear back. Similarly, for every sense, we are having tools. But at the next stage, cognitive skills are there. As per Bloom's revised taxonomy, our cognitive skills are remember. See, whenever people say something, you remember and reproduce. So our camera is doing that. It can capture the image and whenever required, it can reproduce. Our audio recorder does the same thing. Our video recorder does the same thing. In a similar manner, we want to have a machine to understand something. What do you mean by understanding? What do you mean by recognition? Applying one of the experiences in another thing. So that is another capability. Analyzing some data and coming out with some meaningful results. Evaluating the skill of a person. Evaluating the intent of a person. And creativity. So these are all various levels of cognitive capability. So our interest is to create machines with all these capabilities. That is the purpose of artificial intelligence. So in artificial intelligence, we are developing technologies to create the capability very similar to human capabilities, same capabilities. If you can recognize a human face, why can't we have a machine which can recognize a human face? If you are recognizing, yes, the speech of a person, when somebody speaks, you understand what he is speaking. You convert the audio signals into textual signals, and then the textual signals are converted into meaning, and you are understanding. So the natural language processing, natural language generation, these are all called the artificial intelligence technologies. So in one word, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence refers to a bunch of technologies to create human capabilities in machine. If the technology is helping you to create human capabilities in machine, it's called an artificial intelligence technologies. And face recognition is one interesting technology. Are you able to recognize this face? So I want the people to type your
No.
answer. No? Anybody? Anybody? So this is a part of the face, but you are not able to recognize. I'm showing a little more. I'm showing only the lips.
Yeah, it is Vidya Balan, sir.
Good, I think very good.
It's Vidya Balan.
So we have the ability to recognize faces by recognizing only a part of the faces. So similarly, in this part, are you able to recognize? In this part, are you able to recognize? eyes, just by eyes, are you able to recognize? So face recognition is a capability. It's a human capability, which is a combination of physical as well as intellectual capability, physical as well as cognitive capability. So from the cognitive side, physical is seeing the picture, that's all. But in the cognitive capability, you analyze the components and you are able to identify who is that. So identity is one of the face recognition. People who do research on face recognition does research on recognizing the identity of a person based upon the face, recognizing the age of the person based upon the face, gender, ethnicity. It's very easy to find out. Attractiveness. Attractiveness is about the symmetricity of the various components. If somebody has a big nose when compared to eyes, that is not attractive. So attractiveness is more about the symmetricity and the relative size of various components. State of mind. This is interesting. State of mind of a person can be read from the face. So how do we do that? How do we write the algorithm for that? How do you develop a deep learning model, a neural network model to read the face and tell that this is the state of mind of the person? This will be helpful because human beings have this capability. So by seeing, we can easily say the state of mind of the person. Emotions, intentions. Actually, in South India, there is a custom. That the head of the family, the lady, the mother, ask all the children and the husband to sit together for dinner, and the mom will serve food for all the people, and she will be waiting for them. She will not eat at that time. The mother has the habit of serving food for everybody and sit and look at how they are eating. That is to read the state of mind of the family members. Do you know the mother in our culture, in South Indian culture, the mother has a very important role in the family. In the life of every individual, the mother has a key role, and that in that key role, this is one of the important activities she does. What she does is she serves food for everybody, and she will look at the faces on understanding their emotions, understanding their state of mind, understanding their intentions. Are they happy? Are they disappointed? So are they distressed? So all these things the mother used to have. Similarly, she also will see the husband and she will discover if there is any problem there. That is why, in fact, in families, when something wrong happens in a family, people used to say that these type of things will not happen in one day. So over a period of time, if the mom is watching the children and the husband over a period of time, she can read the faces and understand the state of mind, emotions, intentions, and she could have taken remedial measures for that. That's one of the important things in our culture. We must be proud of it. Nowadays, this seems to be not happening. Everybody is picking up their food and sitting in front of the television, and they are eating. They are sitting in front of the mobile phone and eating. Probably that is one disaster for our culture. We are losing our culture. Similarly, when you are selecting people for your as your partner, either business partner or family partner or anything, you need to study the trustworthiness of the person. Trustworthiness of the person. Is he trustworthy? Is he a dominant type? Is he aggressive? Because sales requires aggressiveness. Only then you can be a good salesman. Competence. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Even mental health can be recognized from human faces. Today, research is happening in all these areas. If you want to do research in these areas, that is the future. Historically, let us look at how face recognition is a component in the research. In fact, face recognition has been studied heavily in medical research. How, which part of the brain is working to create a perception of a human face. Medical research has done. In criminology, people have done a lot of research on the exact physical nature of the face to identify criminals. Similarly, not only face but also other biometrics components such as thumb impression, retina, these things have been heavily studied to identify people in immigration and travel documentations. So this is, apart from all these things, now artificial intelligence as a technology is picking up biometrics, and we are doing. Recently, I happened to study a research paper on face perception, a brief journey through recent discoveries and current directions. It has been published in Elsevier Journal of Vision Research recently, last year. I have shared that research paper with all of you. Please go through that. They talk about recognition, face recognition with face detection. So in a picture, you can detect whether there is a face. So face detection is important. Actually, they have studied how human beings, the baby, how a small baby detects a human face. Because initially, when the baby is born, for a few weeks, the baby doesn't know anything. But slowly, the baby will be able to distinguish between light and the shade. So she'll be looking this side and that side. And if you show light, she will be able to recognize. The baby will be able to recognize. So then the first thing is about the shade and the light, darkness and the light. That is the first thing. Afterwards, the baby, it has been found that the baby slowly detects human faces by seeing the mother. So it again and again looks at the mother's face. So in the mother's face, we have two eyes, and in the middle of the two eyes, a little below, you have something like a nose, and below that there is something like a mouth. So the shape of the picture, the shape of the face, all. Ma'am, will you please mute all the participants? My dear participants, please mute yourself. We are hearing a lot of noise. I don't know why. So the baby detects that this is a face. Then the baby starts categorization of the faces. So this is one, that is another face, this is another face. So the baby starts understanding that the face is not the same for everybody, it is a little different for others. And then the baby starts discriminating faces. Okay, this is my mother's face and that is not my mother's face. then individuation, then memorizing, naming. So this is the process in which the recognition tasks happen in the babies. This research has been done enormously. Also, in this particular paper, they talk about how face recognition happens. They talk about something called face diet. Face diet. Face diet refers to the faces somebody comes across in a particular day. If you see some 100 faces in a day, your face diet is rich. If you don't see anybody at all and you are inside your home and you don't see any faces, then your face diet is low. And these people who found out that if the face diet is low, face recognition capability reduces. They have studied about another interesting thing called other race effect. If you are a particular race and if you suddenly look at people belonging to another race which you are not experienced, you may not be able to discriminate and distinguish faces. All the Japanese faces look alike. Among Japanese also everybody has a different face. So you must be able to recognize one person from another person. But if you belong to a culture where you have not seen Japanese, then that is the way it works. You are not able to find out. This is called other race effect. Similarly, the critical features, social evaluations. So these are all the study that they have made in this research paper. Okay, we will go to the next part of the session. This is about the algorithmic approaches. So there are several algorithms developed for face recognition. See, we have already seen that there is a medical approach, there is a anthropological approach. I think you know that there is a study called anthropology. In most of the universities, in large universities, we have something called an anthropology department. They also study about these things. And now we are taking artificial intelligence and studying. See, in medical study, they have studied in two approaches. One is about a holistic approach, and the other is about looking at components of the faces, maybe ears, maybe nose, and so on. For example, look at this picture. Do you understand who are they? Can somebody unmute and tell me who are they?
Yes, the last one is Indira Gandhi.
Excellent.
Sir, Mulayam Singh Yadav.
Akhilesh
Aishwarya
Yadav.
Sorry. Yes, Akhilesh Yadav.
Then Aishwarya Rai.
Jayalalitha.
Bachchan?
Yes.
Excellent.
Nayanthara.
Nayanthara.
Then Jayalalitha.
Yes.
Akhilesh Yadav.
Kulpreet Singh.
And others too. Actually, I am not remembering. There are something a good actor and actress. Right now,
Yes.
I'm not remembering, sir.
Yeah, you are right.
The
I
last
think
one is
that the reason why I called you. Yeah. The reason why I showed you is look at their noses. Are you able to see that each nose has a different shape? We are thinking that all the noses are almost alike, but it is not so. It's not so. They are having different type of noses, and this is how they have made a study. So in anthropology, there are broadly two studies of anthropology. One is the biological anthropology, which studies about the biological systems of human beings, and cultural anthropology talks about the cultural behavior of ethnic groups. So biological behavior of ethnic groups, cultural behavior of ethnic groups. Some people do research on biological anthropology, some people do research on cultural anthropology. In biological anthropology, they study about the entire body. They pick up a particular set of people. For example, in southern Tamil Nadu, what is the biological structure of human beings? Does it depend upon the environment, the seasonal conditions, or anything? In biological anthropology, anthropometry studies about the head. They study about the shape of the head, the shape of the height of the head, the shape, the various study they have done for every ethnic group. For example, if you look at people from African countries, and if you pick up the head of people from India in a particular state, what sort of difference it is? Why is it the difference? Is there a reason behind it? So they study those type of things. Similarly, craniofacial anthropometry is about the measurement of human faces. So they identify various metrics in human faces, maybe the head circumference. You see, number 2, the height of the head, the length of the head, the breadth of the head, the face breadth. So various things. If you can look at it, they have mentioned it. So this is what they study, and based upon which they try to recognize human faces. Whereas in artificial intelligence, we do a different approach. In our approach, in our artificial intelligence algorithms, we don't believe that we can measure using a tape on how many inches or how many millimeters the face is, how many millimeters, and all these things are not done in that way. We do it slightly in a different way. What we do is we convert the picture into a matrix of pixels. If it is a 800 by 800 picture, so 800 pixels in the length and 800 pictures in the breadth. So this is a two-dimensional image. In a two-dimensional image, we pick up the matrix, and in each pixel we find out if it is a black and white picture, is it white or is it black? Between black and white there are 256 levels. So we represent the pixel using a number between 0 and 255. So a black and white image is represented as some thousands and thousands of pixels, each pixel being a number from 0 to 255 if it is a black and white picture. Can somebody tell me who is this lady in this picture?
It's Marilyn Monroe.
Excellent. Excellent. Whereas if this is a color picture, every pixel will have 3 color components. RGB components will be there. So every pixel is represented by 3 numbers between 0 and 255. So a huge set of numbers are there. So fundamentally, for analyzing, what we need is we need to create the matrix. So, and we do analysis on the matrix of image, the matrix of numbers. It's a very big matrix. Now, if you are given 2 pictures, and if you are asked to compare the 2 pictures and decide whether the 2 represent the face of the same person, then you have to do number analysis with all the numbers. But the numbers are too many. That is why in using some of the mathematical modeling, we want to represent an image in the form of a signature. A signature is a smaller set of numbers, maybe some 128 vector. A vector having 128 numbers, a vector having 64 numbers. So what we are going to do is, we are going to apply some model and convert this picture, the large matrix of numbers, into a smaller one. What do we want? For the same person, if you are having for example, if you are having the same person, for the same person, if you have different photos, but if you apply your algorithm, it must give you the same signature. What is the signature? Signature is a vector. So that is the approach that we use in artificial intelligence. So let us now have a closer look at how to make a face signature algorithm. So the face image is a large file. So we know that a face image is a large file, because if it is a 700 into 800 matrix, and each matrix is a number with red, green, blue, and each one having the range of 0 to 255, oh, it's a huge set of numbers. But the signature is a smaller file. It is a 64-bit vector or 128-bit vector. Each number is called a feature. For example, we say that somebody, his nose is long. So nose is a feature. Somebody's forehead is wide. So that is a feature. So what we do is, using mathematical models, we do some number crunching in the large set of numbers and extract the features and create the face signature. So fundamentally, what we want is, if P1 and P2 are two photos of the same person, from P1 you create the signature S1, from P2 you create the signature S2. Now S1 and S2 must be close to each other. So that is the, for example, who are these three people? Will you tell me the name of the three people? Participants, will you unmute and tell me who is this?
Actor Surya, sir, in all the three pics.
Surya, I understand. First one is Surya, very good. Second one, who is he?
All
Second
the three,
one
sir.
is also Surya, sir. Third one is also Surya.
Oh, is it so? Very good, very good. So now, every picture, we have three pictures. From these three pictures, we can read the pixel matrix. Once we read the pixel matrix, we will have to convert them into face signatures. For each of the picture, you will get one face signature. Now, supposing the first face is known to be Surya, and the second face, we don't know who he is. Then, for the first phase, you take the signature. For the second phase, you run the algorithm and get the signature. Now, you compare the two signatures. Since the signature is a small file with 64 bits or 128, 64 elements or 128 elements, we can compare. If they are almost equal, we will conclude that they are the same person. Otherwise, we will say that not the same person. Now, the research boils down into how do we create the algorithm for creating the signature. For creating the signature is called the eigenphase. I think you may have studied these foundations, the mathematical foundations of random variable, mean, median, correlation, variance, standard deviation, covariance, because that is how we find out the difference between two random variables. And we have something called the covariance matrix. Then in that matrix, we calculate the eigenvectors and eigenvalues. Now, we create the eigen polynomial and solve them and find out the eigenvector and the eigenvalue. And these eigenvectors and eigenvalue give you a comprehensive vector, and that is called the eigenphase. So you need a lot of mathematics to do these researches. So I'm going to list out a set of face recognition algorithms. If you want to do research in these areas, you must first analyze all these available algorithms. In fact, there are broadly two categories of algorithms. One is picking up the entire face and then doing some research. Some doing an analysis, eigenvalues, eigenvectors, eigenphases, and everything. There are some people who do research on only nose, only mouth, lips, only the eyes, the eyebrows, and so on. So you can do research in a local feature. So the linear techniques that are used are eigenvectors, eigenphases. There is an algorithm called principal component analysis, independent component analysis, multi-dimensional scaling, non-negative matrix factorization, linear discriminant analysis, wavelets, Gabor wavelets. So these are all some important research works that has happened in the linear approaches, because we assume that the equations involved are linear in nature, whereas there are some non-linear techniques studied like kernel functions, support vector machines, nearest manifold approach, and so on. There are also some hybrid approaches, whereas some local feature approaches are there. These are some local feature approaches. So there are now in the past 20-30 years, 10 to 15 years, we are developing something called convolution neural network. In convolution neural network, what we do is we create a neural network set. We have an input layer where you capture all the images, and then you do something called convolutioning. Convolutioning is to study the complex numbers in smaller windows. We create a small kernel, 3x3 kernel, and move it across the image and capture the minute details in every part. So with these parts, we conduct some mathematical number crunching and arrive at a set of features. So that is called CNN. In CNN, we do convolutioning, we do pooling, and then we use some function called the softmax function to convert them into probabilities and recognize. So these type of things, a convolution neural network is a very interesting area using which today we are developing face signatures. So at the end of the day, it depends upon how you create the face signature. If the face signature is available, then you can compare to faces. So in Python, I will stop here and look for any questions. We'll spend some 5 minutes on questions. Is there any questions from anybody? We shall discuss for 5 minutes and then we'll take it up instead of running away. So I'll stop here and look for any questions.
Good morning. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, now you are audible.
Hello.
Yeah, now you are audible. I think we have lost you.
Dear participant, any questions, any queries, you can unmute yourself, you can ask. Otherwise, you have to text your through chat box.
You can also type in your chat bar if you have real questions.
Right.
Hello,
Yes, madam.
sir. I wanted to ask about one thing. In face recognition, you said that as human being, we analyze the emotions of the person, the intentions of the person from the face. Now, how this can be done using machines, or how this can be done using AI? I mean, what is the technique that will be applied for this particular area?
Enormous amount of research is happening. One simple approach is machine learning. Simple machine learning, you can pick up some historical data of angry people, and we can train the model to recognize the anger. That is a simple approach. But even otherwise, there are a lot of approaches, lot of hybrid approaches are today tried at. In fact, in natural language processing, we are having some libraries to say what sort of words the people use when they are disappointed, when they are happy, what sort of words they use, and they use some statistical approaches to understand the emotions from the letter. When somebody writes a letter, by reading the letter, we can understand what is the emotion with which they have written the letter. For this, there are standard libraries used. Whereas, by reading the face to check whether he is angry, whether he is happy, for these things, predominantly the machine learning approach will help you. For which you need the historical data.
But that historical data will be for a different person or for the same person?
For the same person, it will be really good. It will be really good. See, for example, I'll tell you.
Okay. If not, then approximation will be done using other persons, right?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. See, in families, we used to say that, okay, he is my younger brother. I know if he is angry, this is the way he will behave. Whereas your younger sister, if she is angry, her behavior will be a little different. So for everybody, for every emotion, the face expression is different. So there is a core common element. There is a core flexible element. So we will have to identify what is the core element, what is the flexible element, and you will have to combine in your algorithms and come out with a prediction.
So just like signature.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
In fact, there are people who will hide their emotions. In fact, whenever, in fact, the police people will say that, supposing somebody has committed a problem and a crime, and you are walking in the middle of the team to check who might have committed the mistake. If somebody is busy in something else, it means that he has committed the mistake. He pretends as if he is doing something else. Actually, he has committed the mistake. So these type of approaches have to be combined and used in your algorithms.
Right. Thank you, sir.
It's a very
Thank you.
interesting research. Yeah, it's a very interesting research.
And I also want to ask one more thing. In this area of research, what is the expertise that is required for the researcher, the background? Like, is it necessary to have computer science background?
More than 60% of all these algorithms are mathematics. I listed out a few things. Yes. If you want to develop an algorithm, you must be a mathematics strong person. Only then you can really do some number crunching, because if they are, at the end of the day, it is crunching the numbers and coming out with meaningful results. So for which you need to apply some mathematical Fourier transformation, Laplace transformation, wavelets. So these are the prime things which are used. What is a softmax function? What is an entropy? What is a cross entropy? How exactly the numbers work? For example, if you apply cross entropy and see, it's very interesting. If you really understand the numbers and apply the cross entropy formula and come out with the result, then you can tweak your model and come out with a different approach. So basically, be strong in mathematics. Now, in the next 15 to 40 minutes, we are going to see how you can write Python programs for face recognition. That is what I'm going to cover now. For which you can be a just ordinary programmer and you can develop programs, but you are not developing algorithms or implementing the existing algorithms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please share some resources? Because I have a background of mathematics. I am a mathematics faculty, and I am really feeling interested to go ahead with, of course, somebody's help, because this is not my area of research.
Sure, madam. I can help you. I have already shared a lot of material with the organizers. I hope these organizers will share all with you. And on top of it, if you want any help, you please contact me. I will certainly be very, very helpful to you.
Okay. So, sir, at the end or maybe at any time, you please share your contact details like email ID.
I am going
That
to
will
share
be
the
of great help.
in the last slide. I am having
Okay,
it.
sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good.
Two more
Okay.
questions, sir. Sir,
Yes.
participant side from two more questions, sir. From Nandakumar asking,
Yeah,
out
Nandakumar.
of these algorithms of face recognition, which one is the best one that we can use, sir?
It is not a binary answer. In algorithms, there is nothing called good and bad. Normally when you develop a new algorithm, you will make a comparative study of how this algorithm is better than the other algorithms. It's like it's not a unidimensional performance metrics. It's not unidimensional. It is multidimensional. Various aspects they will analyze and say that this is the advantage of my algorithm, and they complete their PhD. So there is no question of one is good and one is bad. Each one is a different approach. You can, if you have a study, then you will understand how you can proceed with your research. Does it answer, Nandakumar?
Sir, I just wanted to ask you, because face recognition is such a problem that there is no change in it. So currently, which algorithm is being used for this purpose? I know that there are so many advancements in this area, but which one is the latest that is being used for this face recognition and which is very successful? That is what I am asking.
I am going to tell you the libraries, and at that time I will cover that.
Right, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One more question from participant. Lalita asking, face signatures can effectively be created automatically. Any specific algorithm, sir?
Yeah, that is what I am going to tell you here. I am going to show you how that can be created using Python. So in Python, is there one more question? What is that question? Will you ask, and so that we can move on? Any other question?
How face signature? No, sir. That's all, sir.
Okay, very good. We'll move on. In Python, there is a library called face recognition library. If you want to look at it, you will have to go to this site pypi.org project face recognition, face-recognition. So the latest one is face recognition 1.3.0. You need these things. So actually it has been built on three important libraries. One is CMake, the other is dlib, the third is OpenCV. First of all, if you have a Python environment, you must first install these three libraries. How do you install? You will have to type pip. If you are using pip3, you can use pip3. Pip install CMake, pip install dlib, pip install OpenCV Python. If you install these three libraries, then you can install your face recognition. So you will have to also install pip install face recognition. So with all these fundamental things, now we can convert a photo into a set of numbers. I told you that it is a matrix of numbers. So face recognition dot load is a program. So for example, supposing you have a photo called Xavier01.png, then it will have a path, the directory structure is there. So dot is the root directory, dot slash, there is a folder called Xavier. Within the folder, there is a file called Xavier01.png. So it's a color photo. So you write photo Xavier equal to face recognition dot load image file. So load image file is the method used for loading a photo. So if there is a JPG file or a PNG file, using this, you will convert it into a Python num array of numbers. For example, you consider this program. PhotoZav equal to face recognition dot load image file of the file name. That's all. It will load the image as Zavi. Another file, Alvi, Arun. So you can load some 3 images. Now you may be curious to know how that file looks like. We have seen that we have stored in the name photo. I'll take it. So I am having a file called PhotoZavi. So for this is a set of matrix of numbers. So if I print PhotoZavi dot shape, it will print the shape of that. What will be the shape? The shape of the file and into 3, because there will be 3. See, this is the way it prints. For example, the first photo has 1066 into 830. So the length is 1066 and the width is 830. So that is the pixel size, and each pixel will have 3 numbers, RGB combination. So you can print, you can use this to find out. Now, how do we show the picture? See, we took the picture and created a set of numbers. You can do the other way also, for which there is a library called Python Image Library, PIL. So you will have to import image library from the PIL package. Then you can create it in the form of an image dot PhotoZavi. So this is PhotoZavi is a number. Number is converted into image. If you say show, it will show you the picture. So this is the program for that. And now we can write various programs. One is, we were talking a lot of things about creating the signature. For creating the signature, we have a method called face encoding. So if you use face encoding method, you can create the signature. So now there are algorithms, that is fine. But as a programmer, you can create the signature just by using face encoding method. I'm going to show you how it works. For example, you are having a file called xavier.png. Now you are using load image file method to load the image in a file, in a variable called image0. So this is loading the image. Now once you load the image0 is that file. Now you can just call the face encodings method and the signature is created. Here is the signature. So simply using a Python method, you can create the encoding. This is the program for that. For example, this is the signature. See, here is a file 2400 into 3000. And when you create the signature is simply a 128 vector. So these are the 128 numbers are shown here. Once you create the encoding, if you have two pictures, you can create the two encodings and find out the distance between the two. You can find out what is the distance between the two, for which you simply use a method called phase distance equal to, so phase recognition dot phase distance of, so you give one encoding, this is another encoding. So there is a picture called Xavier, there is another picture called Alvin, and you can find the distance between them. If the distance between them is very small, it means they represent the same person, same Surya. I will show you here. What I did was, are you able to recognize the faces here? Who are they?
Priyanka Gandhi,
first
Sonia
one.
Gandhi, Indira Gandhi.
Very good. So what I did was, I wrote a program, Python program. I can share the program. It's a very simple program. You load the Sonia, the left side, I am having Priyanka Gandhi's image. And I created the encoding of Priyanka Gandhi. Then in the right side, I have four images. The top one is Indira Gandhi. Next one is also Indira Gandhi. The third one is Sonia. The fourth one is again Priyanka's another photo. What I did was I created all these encodings and found out the difference between Priyanka and Indira first, Priyanka and Indira 2, Priyanka and Sonia, Priyanka and Priyanka. We see that Priyanka and Priyanka is the smallest distance, evidently, naturally, 0.48. Whereas distance between Priyanka and first Indira is 0.63. Whereas the distance between Priyanka and her mom is 0.71. So it means that Priyanka has more resemblance to her grandmother than the mother. Are you able to understand the point? So you can write very simple programs like this. What I did was, do you know any of these people?
No, sir.
None of them are known to anybody.
No.
First one is Archana, I think, sir.
Very good. Ma'am, you see a lot of TV serials, I guess.
No, sir, not like this.
Not at all.
No, sir. Or not frequently.
So there are 6 mothers and I have picked up 6 daughters. The first mother 0, mother 1, mother 2, mother 3, mother 4, mother 5. And daughter 0, daughter 1, daughter 2, daughter 3, daughter 4 and daughter 5. So 5 mothers, 5 daughters and the correspondingly. For example, here the first is Archana and this is her daughter. The second is Sujata and this is her daughter. The third is Jnana Pragasi and this is her daughter. The fourth is, that is mother of 3 is Rekha and this is Rekha's daughter. This is Mausmi. Mother 4 is Mausmi and this is her daughter. Daughter 4 is Mausmi's daughter. The fifth one, mother 5, mother of 5. She is Margaret and this is Margaret's daughter. What I did was I created for all the 10, I created the encodings, the signatures and found the distance. See, for daughter 0, the distance between daughter 0 and mother 0 is 0.46. daughter 0 and mother 1 is 0.55. Mother 2, mother 3, mother 4, mother 5. Does it tell you that daughter 0 has resemblance of her mom? Yes, because when compared with other mothers, her resemblance is more towards her mother. Same way, you pick up daughter 1. So what is the minimum? This is the minimum. Look at the other numbers. Other mothers are not having the resemblance. Look at daughter 2. Very strange. Daughter 2 has more resemblance. I think daughter 2 is also right, mother. Whereas you look at daughter 3 actually has more resemblance to mothers 2. Daughter 3 has more resemblance to mother 2, not 3. Daughter 4 has more resemblance to her mother, mother 4. Daughter 5 has more resemblance to mother 5. So for this daughter and mother, I checked with them. They agreed that the daughter has more resemblance to her father. So these are all some interesting researches that you can do. You can even pick up the photos of all your 60 students in the class and try to find out the ethnicity of the people. How many of them might be from Kerala? How many of them might be from Tamil Nadu, from Andhra, and so on? Are they having any resemblance? You can make a study. In a similar manner, you can make a lot of studies. This is the set of documents that I am having, and I have studied some of them. The first paper is about recognizing the facial expressions. In fact, Madam asked about doing some research. There are some researches that has happened. A unified embedding of face recognition and clustering. So here is another paper. So this is a very interesting paper in the cyber security. What they do is in the computers, so they are proposing that in the computers, as a part of the operating system, you can have a continuous face verification system. So as a part of the operating system, in fact, you can do research in this. It will continuously be reading the faces. We are expected to use our laptop. If somebody can log in and allow others to do that, it's a problem. Now, in online examination also, if you have a system which will continuously be monitoring the faces and recording, you can avoid more people coming and typing the answers. So these are all interesting systems. You can even start working on it, because that is one of the important things. This is about the paper that I told you in medical research. It was published only last year. This is another interesting thing about elastic bunch graph matching. Here people have done some work on anthropometric data. So here is another set of papers. This is a very interesting paper. I have given you a survey on 2D face recognition techniques. I have given you the paper. You can go through that. It will give you a complete survey. Similarly, people have done some analysis on age progression of young faces. Age progression of young faces. So these are some interesting articles you can study and take it forward. So you can see my email IDs, Twitter IDs, and I have a YouTube channel wherein I have shared some of my videos. It's called Vittai Karpom, VITTHAI, Vittai Karpom. Please please go and subscribe to the channel so that whenever I publish some videos, you will be able to see, and the existing videos also you can look at it. You can note down my email number. You can connect me through LinkedIn or Twitter or Vittai Karpom. Thank you very much, and I will be answering any questions if there are anything. There are some 15 minutes more. Any questions?
Participant side, any queries?
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for the excellent presentation, sir. So, please suggest any reference books for the exact face recognition in Python, sir.
One second. So who is this?
This is Prasad Gattu from Hyderabad, sir. Vignan Institute of Management and Technology for Women.
See, Prasad, the learning method has changed. I think we must realize that the learning approach has changed from book-based approach learning to on-demand learning. So there are enormous amount of research papers and research survey articles and lot of YouTube videos available from which the society has started learning. I don't think that there is any textbook or something available. I think we are moving towards a different type of people who don't want to buy books and learn. So almost all the publishing companies have stopped publishing. Almost all the libraries have stopped buying library books, and especially all the students have stopped buying books for studying, including teachers. So we are moving towards an on-demand learning wherein enormous amount of materials are available in YouTube videos, research papers, and so on. So please try to get them and create your own content. Today, valid content development is one of the important activities. You can do that as a teacher. I think you are capable of doing that, and you can do that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, mathematics faculty, sir. See mathematics, MTech present, sir. That's why I'm asking how to start, where to start. There is a confusion, sir. When I'm going to learn the Python have the n number of libraries, sir. So there is a confusion where you start, where it is related. That's why I'm asking, sir. That's why I'm asking.
So if you go to Python face recognition library, you will see the complete documentation, and that is the book.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, from participant side, one more question, sir, in chat box. Srinivasa Suparao, he asking any other language other than Python for AI and ML?
See, Python somehow or other, it is predominantly used for these type of works. Somehow or other, people are happy with the Python, and actually, the Python has the Python face recognition library has been built on C++. So even C++ is there and Java is there, but predominantly people are using Python. Nowadays, there are libraries like Go. There is a language called Google has brought in Go, Swift. So even for some mobile computing developments are happening in those languages. So Language is not very important, and comfortably I am using Python and it works. That's all.
Really very nice presentation, sir. Good explanation. This is called very useful for your session, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.